生涯この顔を忘れないでいてくれ。
Entrance of an estate. It is the beginning of a fall, a time of beautiful scenery and fair weather. The ancient ginkgo trees cast a lovely shade of gold, but you are in no mood to admire the picturesque sight.
すでに2度、私は同じことを申し上げたはずですが。
The leader of the guards draws his sword as a warning for you not to make any hasty movement. Behind him are the tall, dark walls of the manor. This is the third time you have been faced with such a situation. You are Shiraira, the only daughter of the head of Wenhua House. Your father is in charge of matters relating to ceremony and etiquette in the capital city. Several hours ago, you awoke to find yourself in an unfamiliar room. Your mind was still groggy, and there was an ache at the back of your head. The last thing you could remember was that your father was about to hold a birthday banquet later that night. You instinctively tried to return to Wenhua House, but found yourself almost immediately stopped by a large number of guards. They had been courteous the first few times you tried to leave, but perhaps out of frustration at your repeated attempts. This time they drew their swords, coldly pointing their blades at you. You.
これは主からの命令です。彼の許しがない限り、あなたをここから出すわけにはいきません。なのでどうかご理解いただき、そのまま部屋にお戻りください。
Lord, who is your lord?
ここは海地府です。つまり、我々の主は左京静馬様ただお一人のみ。
Artem? You have seen Lord Artem before at an event, but only from a distance. Zishi House is in charge of the trials of all kinds of difficult cases. Lord Artem was personally appointed by the Emperor to be the head of Zishi House. He is fair and just man with an honest, upright background. During his term, he has solved countless bizarre and befuddling cases and is reputed to be a good official among the people. If that is so, then I'm sure Lord Artem will not imprison someone for no reason. I would suggest you let me live, or things will be unpleasant for you if His Majesty finds you at fault in the future.
陛下からの処罰？文化府で起きたことがすでに知れ渡っているというのに、知らないふりをするとは感心しませんね。
What do you mean by that? What happened at Wenhua House?
何があった？それはお嬢様が誰よりもご存知だと思いますが。
The guard sneers, his dark eyes full of mockery and distrust.
とにかく左京様のお考えによることですし、あなたがおっしゃる通り、あの方は理由もなく人を閉じ込めたりはしません。ですので、お嬢様はおとなしく部屋でお待ちください。これ以上の抵抗は、あなたのためにもなりませんよ。
He waves his coldly glinting blade, gesturing for you to immediately return. With the current state of things, it would be best to do as he says. Looks like I won't be able to find anything out just yet. To avoid getting into more trouble, I better return to my chamber and think about what to do next. Very well, I shall return presently. However, please inform Lord Artem that I would like to see him regarding an urgent matter.
残念ですが、左京様は用務により外出中です。戻られたらお伝えしておきますが、 お会いになるかどうかは左京様次第ですので、ご了承ください。
However, even as the day grows dark, not a single person comes to fetch you. Inside the villa room, the sky has turned into inky darkness and there is a cool breeze in the air. Night has fallen. People always say that reading can calm the mind, but you find no solace in flipping through the pages. Not only are you unable to absorb any of the contents, but you find yourself growing increasingly frustrated and anxious. Why has no one called for me to go see Artem? No, I can't keep waiting like this. Those guards earlier were far from friendly. Who knows if they actually passed my message along? Rather than sit around and wait, I should... You put down the book in your hand and glance out of the window. During your time in this chamber, you have been stealthily monitoring the movements outdoors. There are only the usual guards on patrol, and no additional guards have been stationed here to keep an eye on you. Now that night has fallen, the guard's visibility is lower. This might just be your chance. My best bet is to sneak out at night and go find Lord Artem to clear things up. At that thought, you immediately get up and quietly open the door. The grounds of Zishi House are huge. You carefully find your way through the winding pathways, sneaking through the shadows and heading deeper into the ground. The layout of Zishi House is far more complicated than what you expected. There are so many houses and courtyards that it all feels like a giant maze. For some reason, most of the chambers look very similar from outside, and you have no way of telling where you might find the Lord. Oh no, which one is supposed to be Artem's chamber? I was too hasty. I should have tried to find more information on his whereabouts before I sneak out. Now, you continue wandering through the winding paths, sighing over your predicaments. Just then, you hear distant voices in the direction you came from.
1番隊は裏庭、2番隊は事務部屋を探せ。残りは俺についてこい。彼女は部屋を出てまだ間もないはずだ。今晩中に何としてでも見つけ出せ。
The voices stop and you hear footsteps coming from in front and behind you, swiftly drawing closer. Oh no, they've already noticed that I'm gone. What do I do now? Countless thoughts flashes through your mind. If those guards catch me here, I'll probably never be able to leave that chamber again. Based on what happened earlier, there is no way you would be able to learn more about the current situation without finding Artem. Thus, I absolutely cannot get caught. You cautiously dart through the patch of bamboo nearby and push open the door to the nearest house. Based on the furnishing, it is evident that you have chanced upon someone's bedchamber. The appearance of the chamber does not give off an air of extravagance, unlike the chambers you saw earlier, but it is still elegantly decorated and arranged with great taste. I never knew there was someone with such good taste in Jeji House. Then again, I recall that Artem... Before you can pursue that thought any further, you hear a male voice in the formerly silent room. It appears that the occupant has heard you opening the door. The voice is calm and measured, with a touch of drowsiness. It sounds very similar to someone you've heard before. You can faintly see a tall and slender silhouette behind the translucent screen in the corner.
以前にも言ったと思うが、入浴時の給仕は不要だ。して、 断りもなく入ってきた理由は何だ？
Wait, that voice. Artem? You had a chance encounter with Artem at Wenhua House about a fortnight ago. At the time, you exchanged simple greetings, and his unusually pleasant voice left quite the impression on you. So, I ended up accidentally barging on into Artem's chamber?
どうした？なぜ返事をしない？
At the lack of reply, Artem hears a light sigh. Then the silhouette behind the screen starts moving. Amidst the misty vapor, a man slowly emerges from behind the screen. As he walks, he is pulling back his long hair that is still slightly damp from the steam. The red ribbon held between his teeth sways gently. Even the candlelight seems to follow his movement. People always say that Lord Artem, the head of Jishi House, is a man with nothing to hide. He is clear and open with all things, and his reputation is as pure as moonlight on a cloudless night. But as you look upon the man himself, you realize that it is not just his reputation that is a wonder to behold. The sight before you is the epitome of purity, of perfection. For some reason, you feel your heart flutter. But the man before you is still oblivious to the current situation. He seems to have mistaken you for one of his subordinates as he continues speaking.
話してみなさい。別に責めたりはしない。
Lord Artem, it's me.
ん？君だったのか。
Artem looks up at the sound of your voice. He looks astonished but not at all flustered. In the flickering candlelight, you meet his bright, glittering eyes.
戻った時間が遅かったから、また明日訪ねようと思っていたんだが、まさか君の方から来るとはな。体の調子はどうだ？どこか具合の悪いところはないか？
You shake your head. The more important matter here, Lord Artem, is that today is my father's birthday. The banquet has just begun. Why have you detained me here for no reason? Putting all the other issues aside, aren't you worried that such an incident would tarnish your good reputation if it gets out?
今日が宴？
Artem stops abruptly. This time, his gaze is full of disbelief. Yes, I remember that my father also sent an invitation to Joshi House. Are you not aware of this event? Artem frowns slightly and looks you over with a keen analytical gaze. He finally seems to arrive at a conclusion and heaves a quiet sigh.
これはこれで、かえって都合がいいかもな。
What are you talking about, Lord Artem?
私は
Rapid knocking is suddenly heard from outside the room.
左京様、お休みのところ申し訳ありませんが、取り急ぎご報告したいことがございます。
Oh no! You suddenly realize that you have found yourself in quite the awkward situation. Artem, however, seems quite calm. He glances towards the door, then to you, and a look of understanding comes over his face.
こっそり抜け出してきたのか。しばらく裏に隠れていなさい。
You glance at the still steaming bathtub behind him and swallow nervously. I'm really bad at holding my breath. I'll be discovered in no time. Artem lets out a soft chuckle despite the urgency of the situation.
君の目には浴槽しか映っていなかったのか。隅に寝台が見えるだろう。そこで横になり、帳を下ろすんだ。 くれぐれも見つからないように。
You want to help me? Artem nods. But why? Weren't you the one that locked me up?
いいか、こういう時こそ思考をよく巡らせるんだ。つい先ほど、君は私の名声がどうこうと述べていたが、この場面を見られた場合、名声に傷がつくのは君の方だと思うぞ。では、残りの話は後でするとしよう。
At his reminder, you suddenly realize that right now, with Artem's robe hanging open and his hair all loose, it would be quite the splendidly compromising sight for anyone to walk in on. Artem's bedroom. You climb carefully onto Artem's bed and lie down to stay hidden. You peek through the small gap in the curtains. Due to the restricted field of vision, you can only distantly catch sight of his back. There is a faint, almost imperceptible scent of agarwood in the air. You find yourself growing increasingly nervous.
左京様、お嬢様が部屋からいなくなりました。本日も何度か部屋から出ようとしており、その度に我々が止めていましたが、まさか夜の闇に紛れて抜け出すとは。もし外部の人間に見られてしまったら、おそらく騒ぎは避けられないでしょう。
騒ぐほどのことではない。ただ部屋にいるのが退屈になって、気晴らしに外へと出ただけだろう。だから、出口さえしっかりと警備していれば問題ない。もし時間が経っても戻らないようなら、私が対処しよ
う。かしこまりました。
After the guard closes the door and leaves, you immediately get up from the bed. Artem does not seem wary of you at all. He glances briefly at you, then heads behind the screen to get properly dressed. You take a seat by the table and think over his conversation with the guard, then you decide to speak up. From the sound of it, it seems like my presence here at Zushi House is something that can't be revealed to other people. Why is that so? Could it be that you're actually guilty of something? Also, why are you keeping me imprisoned here? What happened at BToR House? Behind the screen, Artem's silhouette stops moving.
君はなぜだと思う？仮に私が何かを隠していたとしても、それには理由がある。何せ、私とてわけもなく君を拘束などできないからな。
Well, you find yourself at a loss of words as he directs your questions back at you. Why indeed, your mind is entirely blank and all you can do is to make a wild guess. Could it be that you have other intentions with me? You hear a dull thud behind the screen as Artem accidentally knocks something over. As you can't see his expression, you can't quite tell from his voice if he is amused or aggravated.
そんなことが言えるのは、おそらく君くらいだろうな。
Did I guess wrong?
君はどう思う？
Artem sighs, straightens his clothes, and walks out from behind the screen. He takes a seat opposite you.
最初は確信を持てずにいたが、どうやら君は本当に何も覚えていないようだな。
What does that mean?
君は今日が父君の誕生だと言ったな。
Yes, I remember that the birthday banquet had just begun not long ago, and we were still receiving guests. Artem calmly pours a cup of hot tea and places it before you. The warmth of the steam and the fragrance of fresh tea makes for a seemingly tranquil and relaxed atmosphere. However, such serenity is about to come crashing down at what Artem says next.
君の言う単身の宴は今から7日前に行われたものだ。そして7日前のその宴の日、旧王が毒殺された。
The ninth prince. The ninth prince that Artem is speaking of was the current emperor's brother. He had a massive ego and always acted in an arrogant and domineering manner. There were even rumors that he was privately recruiting troops and training up his own soldiers with the intention of usurping the throne. But there has yet to be any confirmation of whether there was any truth behind the rumors.
ああ。それから旧王が亡くなった後、彼の傲慢さに不満が募り毒を盛ったと君の父君が自白した。現在彼は皇族暗殺の罪で天牢に投獄されており、その他の関係者も呼び出しに備えて他所で監視されている。
No, that's impossible. My father has always been honest and just. He would never commit murder. Besides, if the rest of the household is being held elsewhere, then why am I the only one being kept at Yuji's house? You stare at Artem with some disbelief, trying to spot any sign of lying in his face. He looks back at you without averting his gaze.
君だけをここに残した理由は、君が特別だったからだ。事件以降、君は文化府の中で唯一の証人となった。あの夜の全容を目撃していたのは君だけで、事件を左右する証言ができるのも君だけだ。
But I don't recall anything like that happening. I don't have any memory of it. Wait, did I? The inexplicable grogginess you felt after waking up, the pain in the back of your head, and the 7 whole days that are somehow missing from your memory. If everything Artem just said is true, then the only explanation for all of this would be... Did I lose my memory?
その可能性は高い。あの日、君は旧王と父君が揉めているところに居合わせ、巻き込まれた際に頭部を強打し、今日まで昏睡状態に陥っていた。改めて伝えておくが、陛下はこの事件の調査を私に一任している。よって、君の安全を確保し、一日でも早く証言を得るため、私はこの海地府で君を保護し、意識が戻るまで待っていたんだ。突発的な状況だったとはいえ、もし不快な思いをさせてしまったのなら謝罪しよ
う。So this is why I'm here at Yuji's house. Your thoughts are all in a mess. Lord Artem, my father couldn't possibly...
残念だが、父君はすでに罪を認めている。彼の口述も事件の証拠もすべて裏が取れていた。だから。
Artem does not finish the rest of that sentence, perhaps out of consideration for your feelings. But you know full well that right now everything seems to be fully supported by concrete evidence. There is no room for further argument. Even if you want to plead your father's case, there will be nothing you can say in the face of your memory loss and your father's admission of guilt. The room falls into silence as the light orange lamp light continues to sway and flicker.
だがこの事件、転機が一切ないというわけでもない。
After a while, Artem suddenly speaks up. His words are like a glimmer of hope. Even if the chances are slim, you still want to bet everything on believing what he just said. What is it?
吉君が罪を認めているとはいえ、先ほど私が言ったように、この事件にはまだ結論が出ていない。そして、君は事件現場に居合わせている。もし君の言うように、父君が無実であれば、君が当時のことを思い出し、新たな証拠から真犯人が特定できれば、彼の命も救えるだろ
う。Right, why didn't I think of that? In that case, we...
喜ぶのはまだ早い。もし本当に行動を起こすつもりなら、もう一つの結末にも備えておくべきだ。
Prepare myself for what?
ああ、つまりは、君の望まない結果だ。真実が君の願いに応えてくれるとも限らないからな。君が取り戻した記憶が、父君の自白を裏付けるようなものだった場合、彼を死に追いやったのは君だということになる。どうする？唯一残されたこの可能性にかけてみるか？
Of course. You fearlessly met Artem's gaze. As long as there's a thread of possibility, I have to give it a try. Besides, didn't you choose to keep me here in hopes that I will continue investigating?
ああ、その通りだ。
Artem looks at you and suddenly smiles.
よし。では早速文化府へと向かい、調査を行おう。
Are we returning to the scene of the crime?
そうだ。記憶を蘇らせる一番の近道は、その記憶と深く関係のある場所へと戻ることだ。それに、
Artem glances at the window.
今出発すれば、ちょうど犯行時刻に近い時間帯で到着するはずだ。今すぐ馬車を用意するから、それまで君は部屋に戻って待っていてくれ。
Okay. You take your leave with a bow and hurriedly leave Artem's chamber. The hour is late and the pale moonlight falls gently upon Artem's profile. After the girl is completely out of sight, he calls for his personal guards to give them further instructions. Market in the capital. You meet up with Artem at the front gate, where he helps you onto the carriage so you can both head to Wenhua House together. Wenhua House is located in the suburbs of the capital city. The journey there will take you through many city blocks and markets, as well as a guarded city gate. You and Artem are both silent during the journey, but for some reason you get the feeling that Artem is observing you. As the carriage is arriving at the city gate, someone suddenly stops it.
おい、その馬車に乗っているのは何者だ？
You subconsciously glance at Artem, who motions for you to be quiet.
静かに。
You nod and wait for the guard driving the carriage to answer.
我々は海地府の人間だ。そして馬車に乗っているのは他でもない左京様だ。
左京様ね。こんな質素な馬車に乗ってくる殿様なんて聞いたことないな。お前、海地府の人間を装って何か企んでるんじゃないのか？ほら、ここを通りたけりゃさっさとそのすだれをあげるんだ。
貴殿の命を聞く道理はないと思うが。
道理？悪いがここでは俺がその道理だ。従わないってんなら俺があげてやるよ。この馬車に一体どんな大物が乗ってるのか、しっかりと拝ませてもらおうじゃねえか。
With that, the soldier guarding the gate pushes past Artem's guard, ready to yank open the front curtain of the carriage. At the last moment, Artem grabs you around the shoulders and pulls you towards him.
じっとしていなさい。すまないが、少しの間辛抱してくれ。相手が去ったらすぐに話すから。
Artem pushes you lower and you follow the motion to crouch down by his knees. His dark cloak conceals you completely. Immediately, you feel as though you're surrounded by the faint scent of cedar. It's extremely light and cool, yet oddly comforting. You feel the heat rising in your cheeks.
来るぞ、静かに。
Artem murmurs in a low voice. You lightly tug on a corner of his cloak. The curtain is yanked upon immediately after. A brief moment of silence passes. Then you hear the thump of someone falling to their knees.
左京様、申し訳ございません。私はなんと失礼なことを。
気にしなくていい。表を上げなさい。
このような遅い時間にどちらへ向かわれるのですか。もし何かお手伝いできることがあれば、何なりとお申し付けください。
いや、結構。我々は文化府に向かうだけだ。
文化府ですか。ということは、九王様の事件をお調べに。ですが、九王様の事件はすでに結論が出ているのでは。あとは陛下の命令一つで処決が。
海地府のことにまで口出しするつもりか。
Artem suddenly cuts him off.
めっそうもございません。では、お気をつけて行ってらっしゃいませ。ほらそこ、道を開けろ。
Artem waits until the carriage has left the city before letting go of you.
先ほどはすまなかった。どうか許してほしい。
It is fine. Your face grows warm as you think about how close the two of you were earlier. But, Lord Artem, why did you choose to hide me? Are you very concerned about people knowing that I'm here?
それは違う。ただ、九王の事件には謎が多く、君の立場も今は特殊だからな。よって、今は人目を避けるべきだと判断したまでだ。
I see. Then regarding what the guard said about the Ninth Prince case.
彼は何も言っていない。
Artem suddenly seems tense, but he quickly regains his usual composure.
君の聞き間違いだろう。彼はただ、九王の真相がいつ判明するのか聞いていただけだ。
Is that so? Artem nods and does not continue the conversation. The carriage rattles as it speeds toward Wenhua House, leaving a small trail of dust in its wake. Wenhua House. The pale moon hangs high in the sky. You make it back to Wenhua House accompanied by Artem under the cover of night. The sight of decorative rocks and each trees around you is as familiar as ever, but there is an air of desolation that cannot be concealed.
案ずるな。きっとすべてのことが適切に処理されるだろう。
Artem comforts you, perhaps because he has noticed your low mood. Thank you, Lord Artem.
礼なら不要だ。着いたな。ここだ。
Artem points to a pavilion nearby, which was the scene of the crime.
事件の夜、通報を受けた私は、すぐに海地府から駆けつけたが、九王はすでに中毒によって亡くなっていた。その時、君は彼の横に倒れ、父君による介抱を受けていた。また、九王と揉めた際にできたのか、父君の衣服は乱れた上に酒で汚れていた。父君の話によれば、彼は大事な話があると言って、九王をこの場に呼びつけたそうだ。そして話の途中、毒入りの酒を飲ませようとしたところ、 直前で旧王に感づかれ、二人は激しい言い争いへと発展し、そこへ君が偶然通りかかった。
But how did I get knocked unconscious?
当時、君は仲裁に入ろうとしたのだが、二人の争いに巻き込まれ、柱に頭をぶつけて気を失ったんだ。
Artem points at the pavilion in the garden. One of its pillars bears a mark indicating some kind of impact.
そして、父君は君が倒れたことで生まれた好機を利用し、あっけに取られている旧王を押さえつけ、無理やり毒酒を飲ませて、相手を中毒死させた。これが、事件の一部始終だ。
So, Lord Artem, does that mean that you were not at the birthday banquet that day and everything that happened was told to you by my father?
ああ、そうだ。
Artem slightly averts his gaze.
何か思い出したことは？
You run your hand over the mark on the pillar and shake your head. No, I still can't remember anything at all.
大丈夫だ。慌てる必要はない。
Artem gestures for the servant waiting in the distance to come over.
酒を用意してくれ。
Wine? Lord Artem, are you trying to...
ああ、当時の状況を再現してみようと思う。ここにいるだけでは記憶が戻らないなら、もう少し当時の環境に近づけて考えた方が効果的かもしれない。
That makes sense. It's worth a try. The servant seems to be well prepared. While you and Artem were talking, he quickly brings over a small pots of wine, placing them on the stone tables in the pavilion. Artem pours a full cup of wine and passes it to you. You can see the bright moon reflected in the wine. The night breeze carries with it a faint scent of flowers and leaves. This would have been a lovely scene in any other circumstances.
では君が旧王の役で、私が父君の役をやろう。それでいいか？
Okay. You try to imagine what the ninth prince was thinking at the time. You smile pleasantly at Artem and intentionally pitch your voice lower. You wanted me here for an important matter? What is it?
用と言いますか。ただ、旧王様にぜひ一杯お付き合いいただきたく存じまして。私の単身であれば、旧王様もきっと承諾してくださるかと。
At that, Artem downs his cup of wine and refills it, then suddenly draws nearer to you. His angular face is suddenly much closer, and in that moment it almost feels as though his breath has intertwined with yours. Wait. I don't think that's how it went. If the ninth prince and my father were both so cordial, then they wouldn't have gotten into a fight, right?
ああ、確かにそうだな。
Artem stands up straight and frowns slightly.
違うか。読書を進めた際に旧王に気づかれ、それから言い争いに発展したと父君は話していたが、その具体的な内容までは明かしていなかったな。酒の進め方が違っていたのかもしれない。やり直すとしよう。
Okay. The scene restarts from the beginning. Artem straightens his clothes and takes a few steps back. You pretend to be the ninth prince waiting in the garden for your father. You wanted me here for an important matter? What is it?
それですが、旧王様にぜひ一杯お付き合いいただきたく存じまして。それに、今夜は私の単身ですから、旧王様もきっと承諾してくださるかと。
Artem downs his cup of wine once again, then fills it and strides towards you. This time, he stops just in front of you and does not come as close as before. He holds the cup of wine out to you.
こちらは長年秘蔵してきた美酒です。旧王様もぜひお試しください。
Well, I shall not reject such a generous offer. Still pretending to be the ninth prince, you try to reach towards the other cup on the table. Then Artem suddenly grabs your hand. He stops your movement rather forcefully and pulls you towards him once again. What are you doing?
ああ、いや、お気になさらず、どうぞこちらの杯を。
I couldn't possibly. Artem has just drunk from that cup. If you do as well, then the two of you would have.
それはどうかしたのか？こちらの杯を使うことはさほど問題ではないだろう。
Artem leans a little closer. There is a faint scent of wine in his breath. His expression is unreadable in the ambiguous light of the pale moon. You perceive some kind of deep emotion in his bright eyes, but you cannot understand it. He continues speaking, but his tone becomes stranger as he goes on.
どうして私を拒む？頼む。拒まないでくれ。私はただ。
Stop. You hurriedly push him back. Lord Artem, this isn't right.
何？違う？
My father and the ninth prince are just colleagues. He wouldn't say something so bold. Besides, Artem's tone at the end was nothing like what your father would have had. So, Lord Artem, we should... Before you can finish, Artem suddenly lets out a low groan. His brows are furrowed deeply, and a faint flush quickly appears on his cheeks. Lord Artem, what's wrong?
すまない。少しばかり、酔ってしまったようだ。
Artem's bedroom. Due to Artem suddenly becoming intoxicated, the two of you have no choice but to quickly end the investigation and return to Jersey House.
左京様はかなり酔っていらっしゃるようなので、お体を拭くために少し水を汲んでまいります。なのですみませんが、お嬢様、しばらく左京様の看病をお願いしてもよろしいでしょうか。
Of course, you can go on with your work.
ありがとうございます。
The servant makes a gesture of thanks, then closes the door and leaves. You look over at Artem lying on the bed, his face flushed red from the wine, and shake your head at the situation. How did Lord Artem get so drunk from just a few cups of wine? This is bad. I haven't recalled anything at all. How am I supposed to save my father? You heave a deep sigh and feel a sense of helplessness. Also, when we were at Wenhua House earlier, Lord Artem's behavior, something about it seems a little strange. Thinking back to his strange actions during the reenactment earlier, you find your face heating up a little, yet you also feel confused. Was Artem really just drunk? Were his actions unintentional or deliberate? Forget it, I won't get anywhere just speculating like this. I'd better get him some water. If I recall, people who get drunk will always feel thirsty as well. At that thought, you start moving. But Artem suddenly reaches out a hand from behind the bed's curtain and catches hold of your arm.
どこへ行くつもりだ？
What?
行くな。どこにも行かないでくれ。
I... You try to pull away, but the hand around your wrist doesn't let go and even tightens its grip. Since you cannot get free, you sit back down on the side of the bed. The shadows on the wall flicker a little in the candlelight. Lord Artem, are you alright?
大丈夫ではないな。
What's wrong? Do you not feel well?
いや、私はただ、
Artem suddenly stops.
すまない。君をしっかり守ってやれなくて。あの日、私がもっと早くに。いや、それ以前に、私がもっと早くに気持ちを伝えられていたら、私たちは今日、こんなことにはなっていなかっただろうな。
Intentions ended up like this. Lord Artem, what are you saying? He groans but does not answer the question. You can't tell if he's doing this unintentionally or on purpose. Why aren't you talking? Did you fall asleep? Artem does not reply, so you gingerly lift the curtain and observe him. In the dim light, you see that his hair is ruffled, sticking to his face a little, and shifting slightly with the movement of his breathing. Perhaps because of the discomfort from getting drunk, his handsome brows are furrowed in a frown. A bit of perspiration slowly rolls down the side. Is Lord Artem feeling very unwell? Subconsciously, you reach out a hand, wanting to ease the frown troubling his features. In the next moment, Artem suddenly opens his eyes. He catches hold of your fingers. A faint scent of wine lingers in the air, and there's a raw emotions in his eyes.
何をしている？私に手出しするつもりか？
Do something? You've misunderstood, Lord Artem. I just...
誤解されたくないのなら、一つ私に聞かせてくれ。答えなければ規定に従って処罰を与えなくてはならない。
Is Lord Artem teasing me? In that case, what is your question, Lord Artem?
君はどんな人が好きなんだ？
What kind of person do I like? Lord Artem, you're the head of this house. Shouldn't you be concerned over some more important matters?
どうして君はこの質問が大事ではないと言えるんだ？
Artem leans closer to you. He presses his forehead against your hand, his long hair trailing over the edge of the bed.
ちゃんと聞いておかないと、やはり悔しくてな。
Could Lord Artem have mistaken me for someone else because he's strong? As his warm breath goes over your hand, you feel your fist burning. Just as you're at a loss for what to do, someone suddenly knocks on the door.
お嬢様、水を汲んできたので入ってもよろしいでしょうか？
Oh, of course. You hurriedly pull back your hand and stand by the side of the bed. Your heart is beating wildly. The servant pours the water into a wooden bucket, then dips a handkerchief in the water before wringing it out. Then he takes over the task of looking over Artem.
お酒に弱いなら控えるようにと我々も何度か申し上げていたのですが、先日の文化府での宴では飲まないよう心がけていたそうなのに、今回はどうしてまた。
Banquet? Worried that you might have misheard, you hurriedly asked the servant for confirmation. Did you just say that Lord Artem attended the banquet at Wenhua House a few days ago?
ええ、それも何やら大切な用事があるとかで随分と早くに出立なさっていました。
But he said that he didn't attend.
言っていない？それはありえませんね。何せ左京様を文化府へとお連れしたのはこの私ですから。
How can this be? Artem was lying to you? But why would he lie? Has he lied to you about anything else? Your mind is instantly filled with all kinds of questions.
お嬢様、いかがなさいましたか？
I'm fine. I'll head back to my chamber first. Take care of Lord Artem. Unable to arrive at a conclusion, you live in a state of wretchedness. The room falls silent again. Artem, who was lying down, suddenly opens his eyes. There are still traces of intoxication in his face, but his eyes are clear. Seeing this, the servant hurriedly helps him sit up.
左京様、ご指示の通り、彼女には先ほどお伝えしておきました。
ああ、よくやってくれた。
Artem lightly pats the man's shoulder in thanks. However, the servant seems unhappy, his mouth pressed in a thin line.
どうかしたか？
左京様、こんなことをして本当に報われるのですか？左京様が犠牲にしたものはさておき、お嬢様を守るためだというのに肝心の彼女は。
報われるも何もないさ。
Artem calmly interrupts the servant's words.
何も円満であることだけが報いにつながるわけではない。名誉や地位、自らが持っている全てを諦めることになっても、それでも守りたい。この世にはそう思える相手もいるものだ。
As Artem watches the swaying of the candle flame, he seems to have thought of something that makes him happy, even letting out a low chuckle.
野に満層あり、霊路淡たり、美なる一人あり、西洋にして縁たり。そなたもそんな人に出会えたらきっとわかるさ。
The servant is still confused. He looks at the candle as well, but is unable to make anything of it. After a while, he brings up the final matter.
左京様、明日は陛下とお約束した期日となります。
わかっている。明日、すべてが終わるはずだ。
After leaving Artem's bedchamber, you return to the chamber you were staying in earlier. Perhaps because of how long you were asleep previously, you are now unable to fall asleep at all. You find yourself staring at the rafters until morning. You keep thinking over everything that has happened after you woke up, but the more you think, the more confusing it all becomes, and the more uneasy you feel. You don't understand. Why would Artem lie to you? Is what he said about your father and the ninth prince true, or is it at all a lie? You are unable to find any answers. All you can do is to think over it again and again until daylight fades and night descends once more. One of the guards comes to you with a message from Artem asking you to make a trip to his study. You force yourself to look awake as you follow the guard there. Inside the study. When you enter the study, Artem is reading reports at his desk. His expression is solemn and serious. His well-structured face looks especially handsome in profile, illuminated by the dim candlelight. For some reason, you feel a little sad.
来ていたのか。
Is there something you need from me, Lord Artem?
今朝の三台にて起こったことだが、 旧王の件の真相をいち早く明らかにし、犯人を厳しく処罰せよと陛下に進言した者がいた。父君を助けるためにも早急に調査を進める必要がある。
But Lord Artem, is what we're doing really going to be of any use?
ん？
Artem noticed the stiffness in your voice and looks up, staring at you with some surprise.
なぜそんなことを聞く？君は何かを知ったのか？
He's the one who lied to me, so he should be the one to explain. Besides, this matter concerns my father's innocence. Regardless of whether he has a good reason or not, I have to find out the truth. You make up your mind and decide to reveal to Artem what you already know. Lord Artem, it's about the banquet that night. Why did you... But before you can finish, the servant who accompanied you and Artem to Wenhua house the night before suddenly comes rushing in.
左京様、唐突に失礼いたします。急ぎの用件でして、今すぐ広間にお越しいただきたく存じます。
Artem nods and puts down the document in his hand.
君はここで待っていてくれ。すぐに戻る。
Okay. After that, Artem gets up and leaves the study. As he brushes past you, a thin piece of letter paper slips out of his sleeve and falls onto the floor. You bend down to pick it up. When you look up again, both Artem and the servant are gone. Well, what do I do with this? You are unfamiliar with the layout of the Jersey house, and it would not be appropriate for you to go look for him at the lobby. I better leave this on his desk. I'll let him know about it when he gets back. Thus, you move to put the letter onto the table. As you do so, you happen to catch sight of the writing, and several extremely familiar words grabs your attention. Wenhua House, 9th Prince Banquet. You stare at those few lines of text in disbelief. All the blood in your body seems to have instantly turned to ice. Use the Wenhua House birthday banquet to get rid of the 9th Prince and blame it on a scapegoat. You are the only one who can make this happen. Generous gifts have been included. I hope it is to your liking. What does this mean? Could it be that what happened at the banquet was all Artem's doing? This can't be. Artem is a fair and just official. He has never accepted any bribes. The contents of this letter can't possibly be... Your hands shake and you stagger backward, colliding with an object in the corner. It is a large chest about half your height. The chase is painted red and it is evidently made of high quality wood. Dazedly, as though compelled by some force, you open the lid with trembling hands. It's full of items made of gold, silver, and jade, as well as various precious gems and jewelry. It's obvious that these are the aforementioned generous gifts. Placed at the side of the chest, on top of these generous gifts, is a memorial to the throne. It has a gold boulder and seems to be what Artem will be submitting to the Emperor later. You muster your wits once more and unfolds the memorial, silently reading what's written inside. The investigation of the 9th Prince's murder is complete. The murderer is the head of Wenhua House. He used his birthday banquet as a ploy to poison the 9th Prince. His testimony and the evidence all match up. The crime is unpardonable, and judgment is needed as soon as possible to maintain stability of the imperial court. I hope that your majesty will permit it. Signed, head of Jersey House, Artem. Unpardonable, judgment, as soon as possible. Could it really be that this is all Artem's? In that moment, your mind is filled with all of the details that you previously overlooked. Everything is connected, gradually piecing together into a complete series of events. So, Lord Artem, does that mean that you were not at the birthday banquet that day, and everything that happened was told you by my father?
ああ、そうだ。
Artem slightly averts his gaze. Did you just say that Lord Artem attended the banquet at Wenhua House a few days earlier?
ええ、それも何やら大切な用事があるとかで随分と早くに出立なさっていました。
陛下からの処罰？文化府で起きたことがすでに知れ渡っているというのに、知らないふりをするとは感心しませんね。文化府ですか。ということは九王様の事件をお調べに。ですが九王様の事件はすでに結論が出ているのでは。あとは陛下の命令一つで処決が。
Use the Wenhua House birthday banquet to get rid of the ninth prince and blame it on a scapegoat. You are the only one who can make this happen. Generous gifts have been included. I hope it is to your liking. The crime is unpardonable and judgment is needed as soon as possible to maintain stability of the imperial court. I hope that your majesty will permit it. This is the entire truth. There was never any so-called uncertainty or possibility. Artem was the one who poisoned the ninth prince on the day of the banquet and framed your father for the crime. He lied to you, saying that there was still a chance to turn things around, but the truth is that the case has long been set in stone. All that's left is for the emperor to issue his imperial edict, sentencing your father to his punishment, and all would be well for Artem. How can this be? Why would he do this? You're trembling uncontrollably and your mind is still a complete mess. What can you do? What can you even do now?
何をしている？
At the sound of his voice, you turn and find yourself staring right at him. He has already returned to the study. His gaze falls upon the letter and the memorial you're holding, and his expression suddenly changes. Next, he quickly walks over to you and snatches both of them from your hands.
何を見た？
Lord Artem, what do you think I saw? You try to compose your feelings and face him as calmly as possible. Artem gives a short and cool laugh. He takes another step forward to you, and his bright eyes are clouded over with something you don't understand.
やはり君は賢い。もう真実に気づくとはな。それで、私に何か言いたいことは？
Why would you do something like this, Lord Arthur? You're not that kind of person.
そんな人間？どうして私がひどい人間ではないと、そう言い切れるんだ？
Artem's lips quirk into a half smile, but his answer is surprisingly firm and clear. If that's the case, why would you keep me locked up in Jersey House?
どうして？前にも言ったと思うが、君が特別だからだ。君は7日前、文化府の庭で私と旧王を目撃している。もし君が私なら、どうしていると思う？
Artem, you go too far. Aren't you afraid that I'll expose your crimes?
告発？
Artem leans forward a little. You realize that he's only one step away from you.
その前に、まずは自分の置かれている状況を気にした方がいい。
As he speaks, he catches hold of your wrist and pins you to the ground. His long hair falls against your cheek. You are outraged, but he is too strong for you. He smiles, but there is a deep coldness in his eyes.
どうだ、今なら理解できたか。たとえ私が首謀者だと分かっても、君にはどうすることもできないと。
You, let go of me!
断ると言ったら？
Artem lowers his head. You feel his breath against your skin, and goosebumps follow.
君は逃げられない。君の父君は天牢にいて、親戚は他所で監視されている。つまり、君さえこの海地府から出なければ、世に真相を知る人間はいないということになる。そして、私は君を解放するつもりはないし、君には永遠に私のそばにいてもらうつもりだ。
Artem, have you gone mad? Just what are you trying to do?
私はただ、この件を終わらせたいだけだ。もうやめにしよう。すべてを終わらせる時が来たのだ。
You struggle again undeterred, but he keeps you pinned. The coldness of the floor seeps into your body, chilling you to the bone. You think of everyone in Wenhua House and of how your father once spoke of Arthur with great praise. You sink deeper into despair. Why did this happen? This shouldn't be happening. Only just a few days ago, everything was still the same as always. Your home was still there, warm and welcoming, untouched by these terrible events. Just where did it all go wrong? What did you do to deserve all this?
泣かないでくれ。私はただ。
Artem seems taken aback by your tears and loosens his grip in his panic. He pulls back a little, putting more distance between the two of you. Artem, it shouldn't have been like this. You and my father, you're both supposed to be good people. Why did everything turn out like this? Why did he have to be framed? Why did you have to abandon the truth, abandon all that is fair and just? You seem to hear Artem's sigh. He leans closer again, but this time you can feel a slight tremble in the hand holding you down. In the dim candlelight, you see a trace of redness in his eyes.
私を見るんだ。生涯、この顔を忘れないでいてくれ。
What?
君の言う通りだ。君の父君は誠実な方で、私も真相を、私の正義を捨てるべきではなかった。だが知っているか？この世界には、それと同じか、それ以上に大事なものがあるんだ。そのためならば、私は自分の全てを諦めたっていい。
Artem, what are you seeing? He just looks at you with a small smile. There is a trace of some other emotion in his eyes, almost like affection or perhaps longing.
約束しよう。次に日が昇るとき、君の悪夢が終わっていると。その後ならば、私をいくら恨もうと、いくら憎もうとも構わない。ただ、絶対に幸せになってくれ。
What? But Artem sees nothing more. After that, Artem quietly calls for someone to escort you back to your chamber. You make several attempts to escape once more, but the guards seem to have learned their lesson from the last time. They have the place completely surrounded. You have no way to escape, so all you can do is to wait obediently in your chamber. No, something's not right about all this. You are full of anger and agitation, but an intense feeling of terror gradually rises within your heart. Artem's inexplicable behavior keeps repeating in your mind. There's something extremely strange about it all, but you can't quite figure it out. But then, just what did he mean by all that? As for everything that happened at Wenhua House that day and the strange things he said after having too much to drink, are all these incidents really unrelated? Inside the villa room, night falls and the candlelight flickers. As you sit in your room contemplating everything that has happened, you suddenly hear a commotion outside.
扉を開けてくれますか。
The doors open with a creak, and an elegantly dressed man enters. He is accompanied by several of the imperial guard.
あなたが文化府のお嬢様ですね。
The man is holding a fly vase, which is a ceremonial symbol of the imperial family's authority. He looks you up and down. You nod.
よろしい。私は文と申します。文宦官と呼んでいただければ結構ですよ。お嬢様、陛下がお呼びです。
His Majesty? You glance behind Yuan and see that the guards of the Jishi house are entirely empty. Palace. Although you have no idea why the emperor would want to see you, you follow Anush Wen all the way to a remote palace to the west of the imperial city. In the inner hall, the emperor is seated upon the throne, dressed in his imperial robes. To his right, Artem is quietly kneeling at the side. His eyes are full of surprise when he sees you enter.
陛下、これは一体。
With a wave of his hand, the emperor signals for Artem to say no more. Then he sets his gaze upon you.
そなたが文化府のお嬢さんかな。
Yes, sire, I, your humble servant, am here to greet your majesty.
表を上げよ。
Thank you, your majesty. You carefully bow to thank the emperor, then raises your head to look at him. The current emperor is only 25 years old, but he is already considered one of the wisest rulers of the dynasty. Since his ascension to the throne, he has been extremely diligent and has issued a number of decrees benefiting the people. This has led the country to an era of unparalleled prosperity. However, the emperor is also known for certain eccentricities. His mood is unpredictable, and even veteran officials like your father are sometimes unable to guess what is on his mind.
このような時間にそなたを呼んだ理由はわかるか。
The emperor speaks up while you are lost in thought. Your Majesty, I do not know.
旧王が毒殺された件はもう知っているな。そなたの父親のことで朕に話すことはないのか。
The emperor looks at you and Artem with a half smile. His gaze is sharp and intimidating.
どうした？何も話すことはないのか。
For the emperor to ask me such a question, does he already know that my father has been framed? But Artem is also here, and he's the head of Jishi house. Will the emperor really believe whatever I'm going to tell him? Besides, thinking back to the confusion and fear in your heart, you ultimately chose not to say anything on the matter. Thank you for your concern, sire, but I have nothing to report.
ほう。父親が濡れ衣を着せられたというのに、何も言うことはないのか。
Your Majesty, have you long been aware of everything that has happened?
もちろんだ。
The Emperor looks over at Artem with some interest.
左京、まさかそなたがこのような方法を見つけてくるとはな。彼女の父親を助けるために己を犠牲にするこの李代東京の刑、実に興味深いな。
Artem opens his mouth slightly but says nothing. You, however, cannot wait any longer. Your Majesty, what do you mean by this?
そなたは確か昨日海地府の一室で目覚めたそうだな。
Yes.
その後、左京に事情を話した結果、そなたの父親が旧王を毒殺し、父親を助ける唯一の鍵がそなたであると聞かされた。だが、その全てが左京の一方的な話であったとそなたは気づき、最終的に父親に罪をなすりつけ、陳に処決を急ぐよう進言した相手が左京であることを知った。挙句その証拠を彼の周囲で発見し、自らの推測が正しかったことを確信している。
That is the case. The Emperor heaves a quiet sigh.
宴があった当時のことは覚えているのか。
I do not remember, Your Majesty. It is only the second day since you woke up at Jiushi House, and everything that has happened in the meantime is already more than what you can handle.
それもそうか。覚えているなら、左京もこのようなことはしていないだろう。左京、今一度問おう。せっかくの場だ。彼女に説明しておきたいことはあるか。
ありません。
Artem shakes his head.
結局のところ、陛下がお望みなのは犯人だけでしょう。であれば、今さら何を語ろうと打足かと。
打足か。左京が話さぬというのなら、代わりに話してやろう。
The Emperor laughs coldly and looks at you once more.
事件の黒幕は本当に左京だと思うか。どうしてそなたの父親は自ら罪を認めたのか。それを考えたことは。それからそなたが見つけたという証拠だが、なぜあそこまで容易に見つかったと思う。
Sire, what do you mean?
意味ならもう少し明確に言おうか。旧王がいかに傲慢な人間だとしても、陳の肉親であり皇族の一人だ。あやつとて万人の上に立つ人間と言えよう。そんな相手をそこらの人間が容易に殺められると本気でそう思っているのか。
The Emperor is right. Despite the ninth prince's outrageous behavior, he was still of blood relation to the Emperor. No one would dare to kill him unless their hand was forced. And in this entire country, there is only one person who could possibly dare to do such a thing, and that would be...
そうだ、陳だ。そなたがそれらの証拠をたやすく入手できたのも、すべてここにいる左京が意図的に仕組んだからだ。あの日の謁見の際、あやつが飲んでいた酒に陳が毒を持った。予定では自らの屋敷へと戻り、そこで息絶えるはずだったが、
あやつはなぜかまっすぐに文化府へと向かい、あろうことかそなたに手を出した。そしてそなたが抵抗しているうちに、あやつはそなたに殺されたことになった。
But that was only an accident. Since I was not the one who poisoned him, this has nothing to do with my father, Artem, or the entirety of the Wenhua house. None of us are the murderer.
そなたたちではない。では誰だというのだ。まさか陳を突き出し、世に罪を晒し出すと。わかったか。あの夜の成り行きでは本来、犯人として捕らえられていたのは、そなたであるはずだった。それが今日のような事態に発展している理由。それは。
Because they wanted to protect me, right?
その通りだ。
The emperor nods, then shakes his head, and finally heaves a deep sigh. The palace is majestic, but beneath is exquisite, sterilized, and unending sorrow.
文化府の宴という公の場で旧王は死んだ。故に正式なけじめをつけねば民に示しがつかん。よってそなたと文化府を守るために、そなたの父親は自ら罪をかぶり牢へと入った。すべてはそれで終わっていたはずだったのだが、あの日同じように現場を見ていた左京が陳の命令を止めたのだ。無実の人間が犠牲になることや、父親を巻き込んだと知ったそなたが悲しまないよう、現状よりも理にかなった解決方法を見つけると告げ、左京は陳に9日間の猶予を求めた。そして期日である今日を迎え、左京は自分が身代わりになると進言したのだ。
How could that be? You subconsciously glance at Artem. He is still kneeling quietly, his back ramrod straight. Why? You are neither a relation nor a close friend. Why would he go so far for your sake?
まだわからないのか。人間にはそれぞれ喜怒哀楽があるが、己の全てを諦めさせるほどに強い感情は愛だけだ。左京もまたしかりだろう。彼がここまでできたのはそなたに思いを寄せているからだ。箱に入っていた財宝の山を覚えているか。あれは賄賂などではなく、左京がそなたとの縁談のために用意していた結納の品だ。
Your heart is overcome by an anguish, a myriad of complicated emotions are all tangled up, and your visions grow blurry. Your mind is full of what has happened over the past 2 days. All the anomalies have all been explained in an instant. The truths that had suddenly appeared were all part of the story that Artem had fabricated for your sake. As for the moments in which he lost his composure, perhaps they were all hints of his true feelings, which slipped out as he struggled to hold on to his resolve. All his seemingly absurd behaviors were just his confession of affection, including how he bade you farewell in the study that day.
約束しよう。次に日が昇るとき、君の悪夢が終わっていると。その後ならば、私をいくら恨もうと、いくら憎もうとも構わない。ただ、絶対に幸せになってくれ。
Lord Artem, you draw closer to him in a daze. Why would you choose to do this? No, I don't want you to do this. I don't deserve your sacrifice.
バカを言うな。
At last, perhaps at the sight of tears brimming in your eyes, Artem is no longer unmoved. He smiles sadly, and his hand is gently as he wipes away your tears.
一つだけ陛下が言ったことには間違いがある。私がここまでしたのは君のためだけではなく、より多くの罪なき人々のためでもあるんだ。だから旧王の死の真相を公にはできなかった。もし知れ渡れば国は崩壊し、人々の安寧が失われてしまうからな。とはいえ現に旧王は公の場で亡くなってしまった。つまりこの騒ぎを収めるためにはその責任を背負った犯人が捕まる必要がある。だがもしそうなった場合、誰であろうと犯人は必ず冤罪により捕まることになる。それが君であろうと、君の父君であろうとな。この9日間の期限は最初から出口のない迷宮だったわけだ。誰一人犠牲にせず全てを解決するなど、所詮は絵空事だ。だから君と多くの無実の民を救うために、私は一人で罪を背負うことにしたんだ。これが臣下としての私の責任であり、人としての矜持だ。
Artem, as he speaks, your tears fall silently down your cheeks. But why would you fabricate a truth that would make me hate you?
それは私の些細な身勝手だ。もし君があの日のことを思い出さなければ、君はその真相により過去に縛られずに生きていけるだろう。
But what if I did remember?
もしそんな日が来るとしたら、それはきっと全てが落ち着いた頃だろう。これから続いていく長い年月の中で、もし君が一瞬でも私のことを思い出すことがあれば、それだけで私にとってはこの上ない幸福だ。
His tone is frank, even relaxed, but there is no way of you holding back your tears as they pour forth. No one has ever known of how deeply and fiercely Artem loved you and the people of the world. He has chosen to die so you could live, yet all he desires is for you to occasionally think of him in the long, long years to come. Artem, there is something that you are about to see. But someone else speaks first.
左京、そなたが考えた解決方法だが、陳の許しを得ているのか。
Palace.
左京、そなたが考えた解決方法だが、陳の許しを得ているのか。
There is an unquestionable authority in the Emperor's word, and the air seems to grow ice cold in an instant. Artem shields you behind him, then bows to the Emperor.
何か言いたいことでもあるのか。
はい。陛下、今日のことはもちろん、旧王の件をお決めになった際も、陛下にはきっと崇高なお考えがあったのだと存じます。なのでどうかご安心ください。私が本日発した言葉は全て本心から来るものであり、全て罪なき民のための決断です。よって陛下に逆らう意志などは一切なく、謀略の意志なども決してございません。私の望みは二つだけ。文化府長官の釈放と文化府関係者の無罪放免、それだけでございます。それさえ叶うのでしたら、この度の全ての責任を私が背負いましょ
う。No, Artem, you can't. Artem takes hold of your hand and stops you from saying more. Atop the throne, the Emperor's expression shifts slightly. He looks thoughtfully at the two of you, unreadable thoughts surging in his dark eyes. At last, he suddenly asks Artem something.
左京、陳を恨んでおるのか。
Artem is surprised, then shakes his head.
いえ。五風十。この国の民が平穏に暮らせているのは、すべて陛下のご尽力のおかげであり、天下万民において陛下は必要なお方です。今の穏やかな世が永遠に続いてほしいと、私も切に願っております。
天下万民に陳が必要とはな。
The Emperor chuckles quietly, then looks over to you.
ではそなたはどうだ。陳を恨んでいるか。ましてやこのような結果を受け入れられるのか。
After thinking for a long time, you get up and stand next to Artem, looking back at the Emperor with a determined gaze. 10 days later, the case of the ninth prince, which has caused such an uproar, has a shocking twist. The Emperor's edict is news all around town and becomes the topic of many people's idle chatter. The ninth prince's death was the doing of Artem, head of Jerzy House and Schroeder of Venoir House. After the investigation concluded, both have been executed. The Emperor is merciful and kind. Out of consideration for past contributes by Jerzy House and Venoir House, their relatives have been spared from being implicated and are permitted to return to their hometowns. Countryside path. The weather is clear and the skies are blue. You are full of agitation as you hurry along a country lane. I have to find a doctor. Artem is... However, someone stops you before you can go far. You are quite used to being questioned like this.
どこへ行く？
Artem isn't feeling well. I need to find a doctor for him.
先に戻ってろ。医者なら俺が探してくる。
But the guide does not listen to your explanation and simply draws his blade from its sheath. You can only sigh. Many thanks then. Cottage. After dealing with the guard, you return to the cottage you're living in. Artem raises his head and calls out to you softly as you enter.
おかえり。
Yes, I'm back. You walk quite quickly over to his bedside and use your handkerchief to gently wipe at the perspiration beading at his brow. Artem's forehead is a little warm from being ill, and his face is slightly flushed. You feel bad for him and subconsciously apply less pressure. But Artem suddenly takes hold of your hand. What's wrong?
こんなに優しくてはいつまでも老けないと思うが。
Is that so? I'll take note of it. For some reason, Artem lets her aside.
また衛兵に止められたのか。
Yeah. Those people are so inflexible. I'm just trying to find a doctor, not run off from here.
彼らも役目を果たそうとしているだけだ。それに私の症状も重くはない。少し休めば治るだろう。
This isn't a matter of how ill you are. I just think it's not fair. That day at the palace, you give the emperor your answer. You choose to die with Artem. Perhaps the Emperor was moved by the sincere affection between the two of you as he ultimately chose to spare your life. But in exchange, you would both have to live under surveillance for the rest of your lives. Artem, can I ask you something? Right now, do you have any regrets?
どうしてそんなことを聞くんだ？
Because all this isn't fair to you at all, isn't it? If it wasn't for me, you could have had success and fame, and you would have gone down in history as a great official. But now all you have is a ruined reputation. You can't even have complete freedom. Artem,
それを言うなら君だって同じだろ。
Artem interrupts, smiling.
他人の評価など取るに足らないさ。そんなものは所詮そこらにある落ち葉同様、風に吹かれれば消えてしまうものだ。だからそんなことよりも私はもっと大事なことを気にしていたい。例えばそばにいてくれている君のこととか、これから先も続いていく人生のこととか、それが私にとって最も大きな自由と幸福なんだ。
Who said I was asking about all that? You hurriedly pull your hand back, flustered as your heartbeat quickens. By the way, I think there's something I still haven't asked you about. Before, when we were at the palace, the Emperor said that you have long held an affection for me. When did that start? Why did I never know about it?
それか。
Artem smiles and looks up at you. The light reflected in his eyes is as brilliant as stars in the night sky.
あれは春のとある祭りの日だった。私が一人で森を散策していると、道の反対側から緑色の服を着た少女が歩いてきてな。彼女は風にそよぐ野草が描かれた珍しいカラカサを指していて。
The leaves were flourishing, and the plant's life was vibrantly green. A drop of dew slides down a fresh leaf, leaving a faint trail. The umbrella sways a little in the wind, and the design upon it seems to ripple, like the surging wave or the rays of starlight. The weeds dripped with dewdrops in the field, and there is a beautiful girl with bright eyes. That day, the sun shone upon her with boundless radiance. It was as though she had unknowingly knocked over the candle flame, igniting all the longing in his heart. Since then, all the beauty and brilliance of the world has been nothing compared to her.
これまで公務で忙しかったからな。これでようやくゆっくりできる。
Artem, you didn't wear your cloak properly. Let me help you.
大丈夫だ。君の手を煩わせたくない。
Huh? But we are more than normal friends now. What's wrong with helping you to put on your cloak? Let me help. Hold on, why are you dodging me?
すまない。距離が近くて、なんというか、香りが。
In a blink of an eye, Artem and I have been living a secluded life together in the mountain for months. Though we're still being monitored, we do enjoy the free time we spend fishing by the lake. Those days have been relaxing and easy. And we are going to have such peaceful days for the rest of our lives. Autumn house is well groomed. Why does that hairband he's using look familiar?
どうした？考え事か？
I was wondering if that hairband on your hair is the same one you planned to use the last time I dashed into your room.
風呂上がりに着替えていたら、君が入ってきた時のことか。
It was indeed disrespectful of me to do something like that.
そう思っているなら、いい埋め合わせを考えておくんだな。
Make up for it.
ああ、そうだな。今度髪を結んでくれるか？
Autumn, what's with this box of jewelry?
今日にいた頃、君との縁談のために用意したものだが、文化府にお伺いできない以上、せめて一部だけでも君に送りたいと、そう思ってな。厳選してきたつもりだが、気に入るかどうか。
I love everything you choose for me. Huh? This jade bracelet looks...
どうした？
This jade bracelet looks very exquisite. It must have a long history, but it seems well preserved. Artem, does it have a special meaning?
やはり君は鋭いな。これは渓谷の腕輪といって、我が家の家宝なんだ。愛し合う二人を祝福して、女性に贈る決まりでな。父が母に求婚した際も、これを贈ったそうだ。
So, you mean...
それは世界に一つしかない。君さえ良ければ。
Oh yes, I do. Of course, I'm going to put it on now. Okay, I've put it on. No one can ever make me remove it.
ああ、そうしてくれ。君とここで過ごせることが、私の最大の幸せだ。
Classic of poetry, heirs of the seed Zhang Fang Di, the witch creep with the dewdrops in the field, and there is a beautiful girl with bright eyes. It is a line from a poem in the classics of poetry. The poem contains 2 chapters and uses the writing technique of reiterative sentences. With excellent wording and neat arrangement, the poem describes a young man who encountered a beautiful girl and fell in love with her, firing the audience's imagination about romance.